And we're live. I'm Ivana.
And I'm Ayla.
And we are Girls in Goal, and this is podcast number 10.
Week 10, here we go. As usual, we will start out with Dynamo stuff. Before we start with the Dynamo stuff, we're doing another week of MLS beers. So, this week we went with 2 different beers. If you remember last week, we both had MLS beers as well. You can check out last week's podcast for full disclosure info. My beer this week is from Portland, Oregon. Shout out to Troy Perkins because I love him. Mine is a Widmer Brothers Hefeweizen. It's this guy right here. It's really good. It's more like a Shiner than my last beer, which I like. Obviously, I'm from Texas, so nothing can replace a Shiner, but it's close to it. So that's what I get from this one.
And mine is from Kansas City, from the Boulevard Brewing Company. It's an unfiltered wheat beer. It's a lot lighter than Shiner, because, okay, Shiner is my beer of choice when I go out. I mean, anybody that's gone out with me knows that that's what I'm going to order. But it's lighter, it's a little sweeter, so, I don't know, it's good. It's different. It's not Shiner, but it's good.
If it's good, that's all that matters. So that is this week's beers. Moving on, in semi-Dynamo related news, if you're watching the video, which I highly suggest you watch the video this week, you might notice, like, oh hey, Ayla's hair looks a lot more beautiful than it usually looks. I wonder why that is. Well, it's because I got a new hairstylist, and her name is Michaela Hall. If that last name sounds familiar to you, it's because you're thinking of Tally Hall, and yes, there is a relation there. Tally Hall's sister works at Element Salon in Houston. They are on Fairview and Dunlavy. It's the cutest salon I've ever been to in my entire life, just by the way. That has nothing to do with the quality of my hair, but it's so cute.
The ambiance is important.
Yeah, it's probably the best ambiance that I've ever experienced. And on top of that, Michaela is just an excellent hairstylist. I was a little bit nervous when I went in there because you always get nervous when you go to somebody new, and she made me look beautiful. She's so nice. Everybody there was super nice. They pamper you. You can have like whatever drink you want. They offered me like wine and stuff. That's how you know it's classy. That's how you know it's classy.
I mean, wine while you're getting your hair did.
So,
hey.
Yeah, go check it out. You know, if anything, go, because Michaela Hall will totally tell you funny stories about Tally, because she totally told me funny stories about Tally. So, if that's your only reason, that's a good enough reason for me. And on top of that, you'll walk out of there with beautiful, fluffy, glowing hair, and you'll love it. And tell her Girls in Gold sent you.
If anybody has suggestions for what summer hairdo I should, acquire, because I'm thinking of going, and I'm thinking of dyeing my hair red. So if you like it, dislike it, have any other suggestions, send them our way, because I'm stumped. Like my hair, I love my hair, but I need to change. Anyways, I'm gonna be seeing Michaela for that.
So that's our weekly beauty tip. Woo!
Yay! Okay, so real Dynamo news. We stepped foot in BBVA Compass Stadium for the first time.
Oh my god!
On Thursday of this past week, and
it's breathtaking.
If I could let out a stream of like happy expletives right now, I totally would. I could, but I'm not going to.
Yeah, I have no other words besides that it's breathtaking. It's so hard to encompass what that stadium makes me feel that I literally have no words.
Yeah. I've driven past it before Thursday, and I thought it was beautiful, obviously, from the outside, but you can't describe the inside of BBVA Compass Stadium without going into BBVA Compass Stadium.
Yeah, we kind of got to explore it too, and there really is, we keep hearing there's not a bad seat in the house, there's not a bad seat in the house.
There really is not.
There's really not a bad seat in the house.
Like, you will be on top of the action no matter where you are sitting. Even if you have like sweet seats, not like sweet SWEET, but like SUIT.
SUIT.
The suites in BBVA Compass Stadium are pretty cool because they're not at the top of the stadium like they normally are for most stadiums. They're in the middle. So, I mean, I feel like that's kind of a cool and unique feature at BBVA.
Mm-hmm.
And
the bathrooms are air conditioned, which if you've ever been to a game in Texas is like such a blessing.
Yes. So, not that my hair will be like perfectly coiffed for most games, but it's nice to have a little bit of a breather from the Texas sun.
But so if your team, if you're not a Dynamo fan, if your team plays the Dynamo, I would highly recommend coming out for that away game.
You can meet us.
You can meet us. But even if you don't want to do that, the stadium makes it worthwhile, honestly. I'm also working on a recap with pictures and stuff like that, so if you want to see pictures and hear a little bit more about it, it should be up on Gay for Soccer fairly soon, so keep your eyes out for that.
Yeah, so there was, the Adidas store opening was on Thursday, and then after that there was a town hall meeting for supporters groups. Well, it's kind of just a hodgepodge of all the supporters groups and then all just like supporters in general.
Right, there were affiliated fans as well as supporters groups. The only supporters group that was missing was El Bateon.
Drama.
Yeah, there's some supporters group drama there. They're trying really hard to work it out. You know, Brian Ching as well as Brad Davis and Dynamo president Chris Kennedy were all there. And, you know, every single one of them made fantastic speeches. They were funny. They were on point. The message that they got across is that, you know, it's a united organization. It's a united team. Now we need to have our supporters united. And that's something that the supporters groups are really pushing for. And if you remember at the beginning of the season, the Dynamo supporters groups got sanctioned by the MLS, essentially banning supporters from traveling, essentially.
Like in full force.
Right.
Like they could still travel, they just weren't allowed to bring tifos and drums and, you know,
things that make you a supporters group.
Right.
The information that we got about that is that these sanctions are in place until the supporters group create a united charter and a united code of conduct. So that's that. It seemed to go well.
I like the idea of it. If you guys want kind of a comparison to what we're trying to do, think of like Section 8? It's the Chicago, like, United...
oh, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know what you were talking about.
Yeah, no. It's is it Section 8?
I think it's Section 8, although, is that...
Okay, anyways, it's...
Is that right? Chicago's supporters groups.
Yeah. Sorry, I was ill-prepared for this section, I guess.
Ivana's having trouble.
I am having issues. I'm not a Mac person.
Chicago. And it should pop up.
Section 8 then. Yeah. Yes. So Section 8, Chicago. Sorry about that, guys. Yeah. Anyways, we kind of pulled all of our notes together for this really quickly, like, you know, because life got in the way.
Don't want to see you sweat.
But we're kind of trying to do something similar to that, in which, you know, all of the supporters groups are united and essentially end up giving back to the community.
Yes. So, you know, it seemed to go fairly well.
It's a great idea. I just hope that we all see it come to fruition because, you know.
Yeah, and shout out to Walker and Houston, which is our Section 8.
Yeah.
They've decided to name themselves Walker and Houston. They are actually doing an initiative right now. They've already started one to give 59 economically disadvantaged youths. These kids are in a program that, you know, allows them to play soccer and play in soccer tournaments in exchange for keeping their grades up and for staying in school and for, you know, kind of bypassing all the bad things that can happen to them just based on where they live.
Right.
And these kids don't have jerseys, they don't have shin guards, and their tournament is coming up. And Walker in Houston, the last count that I saw, they need to raise $1,500. They've raised about $1,200. They're so close to their goal. Please, please, please go donate. I believe you can find all the information on walkerandhouston.com.
Yep. And then on Saturday, we got to go to a season ticket holder event. And it was essentially a fire sale, open practice, and then meet the team.
Right. A fire sale, if your team doesn't have a fire sale and you don't know what it is, it's basically a garage sale of any unused team gear from the previous many years. We saw stuff there as far back as the All-Star game, and yes, we did pick some of it up for giveaways.
So yeah, don't worry. Don't worry.
Yeah, it was fun. It was amazing. All the players came around and signed autographs. There were some pretty hilarious moments that we won't go into right now, but it was a good time.
One I do have to mention, we signed a Monterey player, Oscar Recio.
Oscar.
Ooh,
girl.
I know where you came from, but holy God, where did you come from?
From the heavens is the answer. This man is beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Oh, holy Jesus, if you don't know who Oscar Recio is, Google him, look for videos of him, do whatever you can to look at this man's face, because it will make your life exponentially better.
I guess I can post some of our pictures.
You can post your picture with him.
Okay, I'll post my picture with him on the Girls in Goal website.
Hawkeye alert. Hawkeye alert.
Hot guy alert. I cannot wait to see him play. And I've just read up on some articles about him, you know, when he got signed with us, and someone commented that he reminded this particular commenter of a young Jeff Cameron. Not that Jeff Cameron is old,
right? That's kind of awkward, but
yeah. So that's kind of exciting to me because you know we're both big Jeff Cameron fans. So
love Jeffrey.
So I'm excited for him, both game wise and just eye candy wise.
Right, and also part of the Meet the Team event was you got to watch an open practice, and from what I saw of him in that practice, he looked really on
sharp.
point.
Yep. So I'm excited for him.
That's exciting.
Especially if Jeff's gonna get call-ups for the national team, which are happening soon, and we'll probably talk about that later.
Yes. Aside from that, the only other real Dynamo news is this upcoming Thursday, season ticket holders have an opportunity to go see the USMNT U17s scrimmage the Dynamo Academy at BBVA Compass. So, if you know a season ticket holder who isn't going and who will print off the tickets for you, you should definitely check it out.
We'll be there.
Yeah. If you want to become a season ticket holder, there are very few seats available. When we went into BBVA, they had a system of being able to show the fans what seats were still available. There's not that many, but there are some. And the customer service within the Dynamo front office is absolutely, impeccable. So call them up, get your season tickets. They're a little bit cheaper because you won't get a ticket for May 12th.
No.
So the packages are a little bit cheaper because you're down that game. So if that's an incentive.
Yeah.
Other than that, we get Colin Clark back on Wednesday.
Yay! I'm so excited. I've missed him.
Quite excited.
Yeah, I said last week, I feel kind of bad that I said I'm sick of the Javon experiment, but truth be told, I am very sick of this Javon experiment.
Honestly, I'll say it over and over, that's the pitfalls of getting to know your team, is that you don't want to say anything bad about them because they're all so nice.
Yeah. They were sweethearts. A personal favorite from Meet the Team was Adam Moffat, who
is always hilarious. And
the Scottish accent makes everything funnier. I'm just gonna throw that out there. Like, I don't know. I just think he's a sweetheart. So,
truth be told, everybody on the team looked so excited to be in the stadium, and everybody was so nice. And if you do have an opportunity to get to know the Houston Dynamo, you should do it because they're all pretty good dudes.
Yeah. And they're all cute, I think. So, anyways,
I have a favorite, but we won't get into that.
I'm pretty sure all of you guys know, and I won't tell the story that goes along with that. Anyways, okay, and obviously the home opener, is on Saturday, and it's going to be on NBC. Are you okay?
NBC Sports Network. That means that we get Kyle Martino. So,
yeah.
I'll probably just keel over and die if I see his face, honestly. So if I don't come back after the 12th, that's why.
Yeah, it'll just be me. Although I've heard other people are coming to this that I'm excited about, so I mean...
Andrew Luck?
What?
If you don't know who Andrew Luck is, his father, Oliver Luck, was a former president of the Dynamo and essentially helped build up to the team to what we are today. His son, Andrew Luck, is
is the first round draft pick this year, and he's gonna
for the NFL.
For the NFL. Sorry,
Clarification.
I guess I just assume everybody knows what I'm talking
No,
about.
yeah. Andrew Luck is the number 1 pick for the NFL, and he will be in attendance because he has.
It's not.
He's confirmed.
Is he confirmed?
Andrew Luck has said that he's showing up to this game. So
I
if
will
you're an
find him.
NFL fan, you know, keep your eyes peeled.
We can be friends.
You'll see him.
Okay. Anyways, so I guess that's all the Dynamo news.
Yep, that's all I have. Moving on to MLS news. What can we say about rookie goalkeepers? If you've kept up with some of the lineups this past week, there have been a ton of rookie goalkeepers who have been shoved into the limelight, who have been doing amazingly. Zach McMath is the piece of Philly that kept Philly semi-afloat. Zach McMath is a rookie. He's young. He's amazing. Ryan Mira got his 2nd clean sheet. He was amazing. Brian Meredith came in for the Seattle Sounders. Did amazingly. Brian Meredith will also start the game this Wednesday. So rookie goalkeepers are all over the place in the MLS right now. As the girls in goal, we love it.
Yay! Also in MLS news, we are looking more and more into the goal line technology that the International Football Association Board is going to be testing out. They narrowed it down to 2 from a potential 8. And they're going to keep testing it, and we might be getting one of the trials for that. One of them is called Goal Ref, and it's like a low... I'm going to try to explain this. I'm not very well versed in this. This is just very rough research on it. But it's like... Goal Ref utilizes a low magnetic field around the goal, and when the ball crosses the magnetic field entirely, which has been a point of controversy lately in different leagues. When the ball crosses the magnetic field entirely, there's a shift that's detected, and it'll indicate a goal to the referee and to the officials and stuff. And then the other one is actually by Sony. It's called Hawkeye, and it's actually used in like pro tennis. If you've watched like Wimbledon or like the U.S. Open or anything like that. Like I said, I'm not very well versed in this. It uses a bunch of different camera angles to just detect whether a ball went completely in. And I've seen it used in like tennis matches and stuff.
Right.
So I mean, I guess it's pretty accurate. I mean, I don't know. I'm just concerned. I want goal line technology. Like, there's no question about it. I think we need it, and to progress the game a little bit. Like, just a little bit. But I'm just nervous about how it will affect the game in terms of like officiating.
Right. I ultimately have a big problem with goal line technology. I will always be of the opinion that one of the biggest elements of soccer is the human element. It's the fact that we don't have an opportunity like in the NFL where they can go back and they can review a call. The human element is a huge part of soccer. It's a huge element of the game, and it scares me because I think that once we start with goal line technology, we'll start down this slippery slope, and there's a possibility that we will lose that human element.
Well, it's not going to affect like run of play officiating. It's just for that specific instance. Right,
but at the same time, clearing a goal off the line or coming back from inside the net to stop a goal, that's huge.
Yeah, but that's not going to be affected because the ball has to cross the line completely. And that's why it's not in play yet.
Yeah.
Because it hasn't been tested thoroughly enough.
I guess I'll judge based on these trials when they do happen. But, overall, I'm not a huge fan of goal line technology.
Right. So, one of my questions, though, is, will the old school footy faithful be on board with this? And I don't think they will be. Right. It's, the older generation of, footy, fans. Or, the soccer, soccer loyalties,
Yeah.
But is this the answer to start cracking down on shoddy officiating?
Possibly, but at the same time, that officiating, that's when you train your refs better. That's when you put programs into place to get better officials, not to necessarily overtake those officials because they are such a big part of the game. That human element is such a big part of it.
But on that note, aren't retroactive suspensions kind of undermining officiating in a game?
That is true. It's all such a slippery slope. And I'm also not a huge fan of these retroactive suspensions, if I'm being honest. My problem with the retroactive suspensions, though, are the fact that the MLS hasn't given us a document that says that this defines, is what we're going to review.
Right. So, yeah, I mean, there's a whole bunch of questions, and it can be a long and arduous discussion, and we want to hear your opinions on it. So, email us if you have any, strong convictions either way, or if you're just kind of in the middle. And, we like pros and cons lists.
Yeah.
We like lists.
Yeah.
So, send them our way, and we will talk about it some more in the next podcast.
Just a note on the next podcast.
Speaking of.
The next podcast falls on Tuesday the 15th. Tuesday the 15th is the Houston Dynamo home game versus the Portland Timbers. Besides the fact that Ivana and I are diehard Houston fans, it will actually not be a game as fans for us. We will be covering that game as press. So we will be taking the night off. We'll be postponing the podcast so that we can bring you our reviews and our press coverage of the first night game at BBVA Compass Stadium. That game, by the way, is not sold out. You can still get tickets. Shout out to Houston Dynamo front office. Give them a call. Get a ticket to the game.
And can you still purchase the Jeff Cameron package for those?
I'm not positive on that one.
Well, we'll post it on the website later.
Right.
But, the Jeff Cameron package is you get a
T-shirt.
20 for 20 t-shirt, which is his charity campaign for the Leukemia Lymphoma Society, and then a ticket to the game. And I don't think there's a meet and greet with him, but it's for a good cause.
Rude, Jeff, rude. I'm just kidding, Jeff. I'm just kidding.
We love you, Jeff.
We love you.
Also, just a quick note, the MLS handed down Simon Borg's punishment.
I don't want to get too much into it because I'll get all riled up, but he was suspended for a week and has to go through additional training, sensitivity training. I just want to say Colin Clark, during his incident, if you don't know what incident I'm speaking of, Google it, it'll come up immediately, was suspended for, it ended up being over 3 weeks because of bye weeks, and had to do training for targeting another minority group like that. This is unacceptable to me. I think the punishment was way too lenient.
Essentially, they told him to take a vacation.
Right. It was a slap on the wrist. I actually tweeted about it when it got handed down, and I said something along the lines of, they told him to go to his room without dessert. Because it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. You can't alienate an entire portion of the fan base and get a week-long vacation.
I mean, he's not getting paid, obviously, but I mean,
a week with no pay on his salary is nothing, though.
Anyways.
But so that was his punishment.
Anyways, whatever. I'm over it. Anyway, also, the Columbus Crew acquired Chris Birchall from the LA Galaxy. So it'll be interesting to see what the impact is there.
Yeah. I think we'll move on to our saves of the week.
Oh, yes.
So I guess I'll start out. My save of the week is not Zach McMath. Everybody cheer. Ayla didn't pick Zach McMath. Although I do still love him, and we'll get some more on why I think that he's a perfect human when we get to the games. My save of the week was actually Donovan Ricketts. Montreal Impact. His save on Espinoza in the 87th minute was amazing. If you look at Espinoza's shot, it was from distance. It was a fast curving ball in. Donovan Ricketts, I love, love, love reaction saves. This was a total reaction save. It was beautiful. I love it. Montreal went on to win the game. So, and I do think that Donovan Ricketts was the biggest impact in that game. So,
yay, goalkeepers!
Yeah, Donovan Ricketts.
My save of the week is actually John Bush. It was on the Dayro bicycle. I can't remember what minute it was in. Sorry. I'm so ill-prepared for this podcast. Dayro bicycle, it looked like it was going into the left top pocket of the of the goal, and he managed to get a hand on it and push it away. So, I think anytime you save a Dayro goal or potential goal like that,
anytime you stop Dayro,
but especially that, because that would have been like a goal of the week nominee for sure. So props to you, John Bush, even though I'm not particularly fond of you.
Well, I do have one honorable mention this week, and it's my boyfriend, Troy Perkins. So Troy Perkins got clipped in the face last week, and he had to wear this silly little mask, and he looks so scary, and it's a shame because it's covering up his beauty, but that ultimately did not affect his game at all. And yeah, Troy Perkins, it was in the 66th minute, it was on a corner from Columbus, and he came out and he was like, no, this is my box, and it was beautiful, and you should go look it up. I believe it's on the highlight reel on MLSsoccer.com. It was beautiful. And, you know, props to Troy Perkins for having an injury like that and coming back and not letting it affect his game. Because he did, you know, it was a 0-0 game, so he kept a clean sheet.
I love charging goalkeepers, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yay, save of the week.
Moving on to games. Who do you want to start with, Evan? I'll let you take the lead.
I'll just start from the top. Seattle versus LA. Hey, Freddie Montero, welcome to 2012.
What up?
That was a beautiful goal, though. Oh, man. I watched it. I had to watch it a few times.
Yeah, I think one thing that I do want to point out is I think it's really impressive that the Sounders keep changing their lineup and they keep winning. It's working for them.
So it's just a testament to their depth.
Yeah. Good on you, Seattle Sounders. It is important to note that LA played a reserve team, but
it showed though.
Yeah.
But but I don't think that gamble paid off either game.
Right.
Also, Eddie Johnson scored. I love Eddie Johnson.
So ultimately, the Sounders were the stronger team.
Obviously.
I mean, it was definitely. LA needs better depth, because if you look at the Sounders game, they played a lineup that they're not necessarily used to playing either, and the Sounders played well. LA played a team that they're not used to playing, and they played poorly. So, you know, LA might have, 11 amazing starters and have a wonderful lineup, but when it comes down to it, you need more depth. And I think that Arena needs to take that into consideration in the future.
Absolutely. And okay, I guess we can go on to the other LA game just since we're talking about it. The LA-New York game, bi-coastal game, okay. 0-1.
Yeah, Ryan Meara gets another clean sheet. I love him.
Thumbs up for you, Ryan Meara.
I love you.
I mean, you know, not that New York had a particularly impressive offensive showing, but way to clamp down defense. Like, seriously. Way to clamp down.
New York, I think, has a really, really good back line. Dax McCarty, again, was wonderful. No, I love him.
No, that wasn't a Dax McCarty, like, But it was... New York's back line can be hit or miss, I think. Like, they can be really, really good, and I will give them that. But when they're bad... They're really bad.
Yeah, well, but I think that they've had enough strong showings that at this point it's becoming more consistent than inconsistent. Mm-hmm. So, Agudelo came back.
Oh,
this was his first game back. He was so-so, but you can't really hold that against him because it was his first game back. But I guess that's exciting if you're an Agudelo fan.
I mean, my only...
We're not showing our bias, are we?
No. Resting players didn't really pay off, LA, like we said earlier, so,
You lost 2 in a row.
Yeah, okay, y'all had 9 points to pick up in this past, like, I guess, 2 weeks.
Week and a half, 2 week span.
Y'all picked up 1 point.
Fail.
1 out of 9. 1 out of 9. Y'all fail.
Sorry.
Yeah,
I think it's interesting because people are starting to actually call for Bruce Arena's job, so...
What?
Yeah.
I didn't read that. Wow.
I've seen it.
Oh, well, people have been calling for Dominic Kinnear's job for years.
For years and years and years.
Anyways, but, I mean, LA, you've got to pull it together. This is such a poor showing from the MLS defending champions.
We're not going to get into that.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, moving on. And it was raining goals for the San Jose DCU game.
San Jose DC.
Goals freaking everywhere.
8 goals total. 8 goals total. That's crazy. That's insane.
So the goal scorers for DCU were Darrow, Woolard, and Salihi. And then 2 apiece, and then San Jose, 2 apiece for Wando and Lenhart, and 1 for Justin Morrow.
Woo! Yeah, never bet against Wondolowski.
Never.
Don't do it. It'll end poorly for you.
Yeah. No, I mean, you know, Darrow was on fire that game, but, you know, San Jose managed to kind of just put out the fire.
There.
Put out the fire a little bit. There has to be a little bit of a testament to John Bush. I know he put in, like, he let in 3 goals, whatever, but I think the offense kind of helped with getting 5 past Joe Willis.
Yeah. The offense made up for those 3, clearly.
On that note, we did say that you can't always rely on defense in regards to the Houston game last week. Sorry. Yeah, so I think San Jose is a testament to that. Like, the best defense is a good offense.
Yeah.
So,
definitely.
So, yeah. So, good on Wando. Player of, was he the MLS player of April?
Ooh, I believe so.
Of April. And then he scored 3 goals this week. So, way to keep your run going.
Bet against Wondolowski. You know, I really dislike saying bad things about people on my team, but I just want to point out that we traded Chris Wondolowski for Cam Weaver, and it hurts my soul every time I remember that. It's painful for me.
Yeah.
It physically pains me.
I try not to think about it too much because it really does kind of bite the big one. But on that note, Chris Wondolowski was not in this form.
Right,
when
he wasn't in this form when we traded him. This is true. But Cam Weaver hasn't been in any form ever. I'm sorry, and it makes me feel like such a bad person. And I know that last season Cam Weaver did play through an injury. So good on Cam Weaver for playing through an injury like that. That's heroic. But
no excuses.
Still, it just it makes me sick to my stomach. But I do want to point out Cam Weaver's such a sweet guy, and he really does try hard, and he's been doing really well on our reserve team. So maybe this season will be the turnaround I've been looking for.
You're going to hear us talk about how, like, we don't like saying bad things about our players a lot, because we really do feel bad about it. So, I mean, we have to be honest, because, you know, this is a podcast about
the
soccer.
MLS.
But, yeah.
It hurts.
Yeah, it does hurt my heart a little bit. So, okay, I guess we'll go to the other San Jose game since we're talking about Wando with his 3 goals. He scored another goal against Vancouver, but alas, San Jose did not win this game.
No, the Whitecap spot. Something to note about this game before we get to actual run of play, Vancouver's coach kind of like lost his mind towards the end there, and the ref had to come over and be like, calm down. It's just an offsides call. Like, calm down. It was kind of crazy. You should go back and see if you can find clips of it because, yeah, it was scary.
Yeah.
One thing that I did notice is that something that we on Girls in Goal talk about fairly often is that just because you're not in the starting 11 doesn't mean that you can't make an impact as a sub. And I think Hasley comes in and shows the importance of substitutions in the Whitecaps game because he was the difference maker. He came on and you could just see a marked change. And yeah, you know, this one I think really does go to Hasley.
I do have to say, I've said before that a goal right before the half can be the game changer.
Didn't Tally say that?
Quoting Tally. Quoting Tally.
Love you, Tally.
Love you, Tally. Oh, God. But, you know, Tally Hall has said that a goal right before the half can be the game changer. And I've kind of noticed that Tally was right. So.
Never doubt the Hall.
The Hall family is awesome. Okay. Anyways.
Moving on. Let's look at Chivas Chicago. So, this game,
Chivas.
Dan Kennedy was the only bright spot for Chivas. He really did play his heart out. He tried the best that he could.
Juan Pablo and scored.
Dan Kennedy was the bright spot for Chivas. No, not to take away from the importance of Juan Pablo's goal, because I do love me some Juan Pablo on hell. But I think that Kennedy is the only player that put in a full 90 minutes and put his whole soul into the full 90 minutes. And that's such an important thing to do.
We love Dan Kennedy. Chivas, you've got to finish your chances. It's ridiculous. Like, you have so many. Not a whole lot, but, like, when you get them, capitalize.
Right. Papa's winning goal, though, for Chicago was beautiful. You gotta give him that.
Yeah.
You gotta give him that.
I mean, I do like Marco Papa, so, I mean...
Yeah.
Props to you, bro.
Other than that, this game was mostly just depressing because Chivas, you're right, they didn't capitalize on the opportunities that they had, and that's always so depressing for any team, not just a team that we, vaguely like.
Vaguely.
Yeah, gotta capitalize on those chances that you get given. Come on, guys.
I'm shaking my head at you, Chivas.
So,
you have so much potential.
Moving on from that game, I guess if we're going to talk about a team with potential, let's talk about the Timbers Columbus game.
Ooh.
I said last week that I was going to pick the Timbers if they had Troy Perkins back, but that I don't think either team was stronger than the other because both teams were weak. That's exactly how this played out.
Womp womp.
Columbus kind of has an excuse. They're in a rebuilding year this season. During the offseason, they kind of, they took some hits, and they lost a lot of people, and it was kind of crazy for them. The Timbers have all of the pieces. They have all the pieces that they need to be such a successful team, and I love them so much, and I don't understand what isn't working. John Spencer, what isn't working? And I want to be clear that this is not on the Timbers, this is not on the players themselves. I believe that the players all have immense talent, and they all care about that city, and they care about that team, and they put their hearts into it. Something in the lineup doesn't click, and that's on the coach. And Girls in Goal have said that before, that you can have all the pieces, but it's up to the coach
Absolutely.
to put together a starting 11.
Absolutely.
And, it's just, it's not clicking. And it's crazy because, you look at a player like Darlington Nagbe, who's amazing, and he had at least three glorious chances, and it just didn't click. And I would love to see the Timbers come back and kind of just kick ass all over the place.
Yeah, the beauty of the MLS season right now is that it's still really, really early, and in our experience from last season with the Dynamo, everybody had discounted us mid-season.
And even to the point that we made it into the playoffs, everybody wrote us off.
So, don't count these teams that are struggling now out. I mean, maybe you can count Toronto out. But, don't count the teams that are struggling right now out, because this is the MLS. Anything can happen, and a lot of what the playoffs are the teams that find their stride at the right time.
Right.
So if San Jose may not make the playoffs. They're in great form right now, but if they find a slump, it comes September, October, they may not make the playoffs.
Yeah, and that's another thing that I absolutely love about the MLS. My favorite thing about the MLS is that, honestly, nobody can say that they're an underdog, because every single team in this league can come back from just about anything and make it into the playoffs. Again,
we've seen it happen.
Except for Toronto. I'm sorry, Toronto. I don't believe for 1 second that you're going to make it.
No?
Wah, wah.
Speaking of Toronto, sucks to be you.
Sucks to be y'all right now. Toronto, DC, wah, wah, wah. Toronto loses again, color me shocked.
DCU did get Bill Hamid back. Shocker after Joe Willis let in 5 San Jose goals, but,
I do think, though, that it's important to note that DC actually wasn't as strong as usual. If you go back and you watch the game, they weren't playing up to the same form that they have been playing at, and they still won 2-0. Come on, Toronto. Come on. Chris Pontius, though, I really do think was the it factor in this game, because he is such a beast. Come on, dude. Like, he's amazing on that pitch.
He is the ultimate, like, opportunist.
Yeah, he's wonderful. He sees everything on that pitch, which I think is such a gift in the game of soccer.
Absolutely.
When a player notices little things, which is something that Chris Pontius does notice. On top of that, he's sort of beautiful. So he just has everything going for him, and I think that he's gonna have. No. I think he's gonna have a really good season if he continues
with the form
playing in the form that he's been playing in.
Okay, so Seattle, Philly.
Ooh, girl.
Ooh. Okay, everybody brace yourself. Ayla's about to go off.
Zach McMath got kicked in the face. Let's talk about this. So it's no secret that I love Zach McMath. One thing that I can say for Zach McMath, not talking about him being kicked in the face, he almost kept a clean sheet, and he was the factor for Philly. Speaking of Zach McMath getting clipped in the face, this is the second week in a row that a goalkeeper has almost been seriously injured. That's not okay. It's not okay when goalkeepers are being put in this position and when forwards are acting the way that they're acting. That's not okay.
I'm all for, going for the ball, whatever, but not that way.
Right. It's starting to get a little bit too dangerous. It's starting to get a little bit too aggressive. And the fact that when these things happen, these forwards aren't getting punished the way that they should be. Looking back at Troy Perkins' injury from last week, that was a yellow card. That should have been a straight red. He saw Troy Perkins, and the same thing happened with McMath. He saw Zach McMath, and he was too aggressive. That should have been a straight red. I don't understand. Especially when Zach McMath is down for as long as he was down. It's unacceptable. And, I have to give all the credit to Zach McMath for popping back up from that and for putting in as much as he did put in. Ultimately, Seattle won this game on a Rosales goal.
Which is pretty.
And the Sounders were offensively stronger, but Zach McMath, like I said, was amazing, and I think that this could have ended 0-0 had McMath not been kicked in the face. I truly believe that. I think it kind of stunned him, and good on him for coming back and playing and for being in it, but I do think that he was kind of like, whoa. Other than that, Seattle was offensively stronger.
Yeah.
You have to give them that.
Sorry about your face, Zach McMath.
Yeah, he totally pulled a Perkins and just kind of like laughed in the face of danger and was like, it's mine. But
goalkeepers, keep yourselves safe.
Yeah. Something that I have to say for Philly, though, why? Why are you letting your 21-year-old goalkeeper being the deciding factor for your team? Come on. Come on, guys. Philly is another team that I think has all the pieces to be a winning team and just hasn't pulled it together yet. Honestly.
Yeah.
They have players like Danny Califf.
Yeah, what we failed to mention on a previous Girls in Gold podcast, the Gabriel Farfan suspension was extended to 3 games from the one from his red card.
Yes, he was retroactively suspended.
So...
I think it'll be an interesting season for Philly. I think that if Philly can pull together their team, I think that there's a possibility that they'll hit a stride and that they'll start sailing through.
We'll see. That's the beauty of how long the MLS season is. Teams can find their stride at different times, and if they peak properly at the right time, then good on you.
Yay!
You can win the cup.
Let's talk about Kansas City, Montreal. So,
what?
Montreal won this game.
What?
How did that happen?
Way to go, though, Montreal. Upset of the season so far, for sure, I think.
Yeah. Montreal, I think, ultimately played like more of a unit than Kansas City played for. If you go back and you watch the game, Kansas City it was every man for himself out there. And while they were playing well individually, they weren't playing well as a team.
I mistakenly said that their bye week was going to help them recuperate and be fresh legs for this game. No. In Kansas City's defense, Graham Zusi was the most dangerous piece for Kansas City. Graham Zusi was dangerous for Graham Zusi.
No, Graham Susie was the most dangerous player for Kansas City, so good on him. I think that Bobby Convey, who hasn't gotten a lot of playing time, although being, you know, an amazing offseason pickup, he played well. He missed a couple of chances, but despite that, he did play well.
He had a few good services into the box.
Yeah. You know, Felipe's goal for Montreal was so beautiful. Holy cow. Oh my god. Yeah, that was beautiful. Felipe, if you can do that every week for Montreal, they're going to be a winning team. Yeah, god, that was beautiful. The second goal for Montreal was on a penalty. I watched this. It was iffy to me. Like, I kind of didn't think that that should have been a penalty, honestly. I mean, don't bite my head off, Montreal fans, but...
Well, I think Montreal would have won regardless.
Yeah, but that penalty was an iffy decision. You know, other than that, Montreal played more like a unit, and I really do think that was the factor.
That's the difference.
Yep.
Okay, just a brief touch on the Real Salt Lake New England game. Boring. Real Salt Lake was just better.
Yeah, Real Salt Lake was just the stronger team. New England games are starting to become tedious for me because, again, they just don't capitalize on the chances that they're given, and that's so frustrating to watch when you look and you can see these opportunities and they miss them.
Right.
But, you know, other than that, Real Salt Lake was just stronger. They didn't really give New England many opportunities. So, moving right along. Dallas Rapids.
Ooh, the drums continue.
Fight.
Oh, Daniel Hernandez got a yellow card for dissent. What?
Shocking.
What? Daniel Hernandez? Never.
Daniel Hernandez was rude? No.
And then he got a second yellow card for a late challenge. And thus ejected
him from the game. It's important to note that Dallas also got a red card, and both player ejections came within 2 minutes of each other in the first half.
2 red cards, one to Daniel Hernandez for two yellows, and then one to Blas Perez for a studs up challenge.
Yeah, it came within 2 minutes of themselves in the first half. All I can say to Dallas, you need to be more careful. When you have your star player, the player who makes the most difference on your team, Brek Shea, playing the way that he's playing, I think that Brek Shea is playing through an injury right now.
Yeah, he's questionable for tomorrow's game.
When you have your top goal scorer, you're arguably the best player on that team. When you have him and he's not in top form, and you're getting 2 ejections, that is
You're putting
ridiculous.
a whole lot of pressure on the 9 that are left, and it's not fair.
It's unfair. You just need to be more careful with these.
But way to capitalize, Colorado.
Yeah, I mean, hey. Yeah, overall, the thing that you can say for the Rapids is this happened to Dallas, and they were like, well, okay.
Yeah.
We'll take it.
We'll take it. So, I mean, you can't fault Colorado for capitalizing on a situation like this.
That's all the games this week.
That is all the games this week. So we'll move on to our picks.
Picks for last week, Ashley wins again. Now the question is, who's going to take Ashley down? Somebody needs to do it. I don't know if it's going to be me, but, you know, everybody else who plays, I'm not going to name names. You know who you are.
Play. Speaking of, you all need to turn in your picks for tomorrow. There's at least
3 games,
There are 3 games tomorrow, and, yes, I believe that's, yeah.
Just turn in your picks for tomorrow. You can get the rest in later. No big deal.
So, the first game for tomorrow is actually the New York Dynamo game, and I've picked the Dynamo.
I picked the Dynamo?
We've heard mumblings of Dom playing a different squad tomorrow, especially in being so close to the
stadium opener.
Yeah, so
word on the street is that Houston will play different lineups for the next 3 games, which will be interesting.
Yeah, I'm a little nervous about that.
Ryan Mira, I know I talk nice about you, but please have a shitty game. Have an off day or something, because I picked Houston as well.
Okay, Toronto, Montreal. I picked Montreal.
We
keep saying they're gonna ride their 2-goal high or whatever, but
no, I don't think that's the case. I think the case is that Toronto is
sucks.
Yeah. So Montreal.
Yeah, and then Chicago, Real Salt Lake. I picked Real Salt Lake.
Dallas, Seattle. I will actually be at this game. Dallas is at home. I'll be watching this game tomorrow, so I'll probably live tweet some of it if you're interested.
So follow Ayla on Twitter.
Check out my Twitter. I picked Seattle.
I picked Seattle as well. With, you know, 2 of their big players out, I don't think.
And with Breck Shea questionable.
Yes, Breck Shea is questionable, and like half of their team is out.
Yeah.
So
Seattle.
Seattle.
Houston, DC, inaugural game. Houston. Danny Cruz, be careful with my heart this game. I can't handle it. That's all I'm going to say.
If she faints in the stands, I won't be in the same section, so I won't be able to save her.
Actually, we can't really react like that because I don't know. It's just, I will cry forever. Houston. That's the answer for this. New England, Vancouver. Is who I picked.
I picked them as well.
Columbus, Dallas. I actually picked Dallas in this one because I think Dallas is going to have a couple of players back, and I think that Columbus is
still
not. Ivana picks Dallas in Dallas, Columbus. Moving on to Chicago, Sporting, Kansas City. I picked Sporting, Kansas City.
Yeah, I picked Kansas City as well.
Seattle, Real Salt Lake. I picked Seattle. They're at home. So, Philly, New York.
I picked New York.
I picked Philly.
This one's going to be a battle of the rookie goalkeepers.
Yeah, this one is going to be battle of the goalkeepers because I think that both of the teams that these teams are putting on the pitch, as far as the players playing, well, they're all playing, but neither of them are stronger than the other again. I think this is going to come down. This is going to come down to Zach McMath and Ryan Mira. I picked Philly. I went with McMath.
I went with New York.
The last game, San Jose Chivas. Never bet against the Wando. San Jose.
Did you pick the Montreal-LA game?
No, I guess not.
She missed a game.
I missed a game again.
I picked Montreal, just for giggles.
Montreal-LA. It depends on what Bruce Arena's gonna do. What's he gonna do?
I'm gonna go with Montreal. I mean, yeah.
Wait, new question. Is Montreal at home? Is LA at home? Montreal's at home? I pick Montreal.
Okay. So.
Xandru, don't let me down. So that is that. If you've been actively, I know usually we end the podcast now. We actually have something extra.
Yay!
If you've been keeping up with the Girls in Goal website, you know, I assume you check it every day. We have a contest.
Yay!
First of many giveaways. First, I'll show you your prize. Straight from, you can see the tags and everything, straight from the team store is an inaugural season t-shirt from the Houston Dynamo for BBVA Compass Stadium.
Yay!
There's more. It's autographed by the entire 2012 roster, and it has the entire season's games. Yeah, every single player was there, and every single player signed it. So this is a good one.
Yep.
So that's what you win.
Okay, and how you can enter to win, you can send us an email with your
name, your address, and your contact information.
With contact somewhere in the subject line. And the question you have to answer in order to be eligible for this contest is, what is the biggest advantage of home field advantage, and what role does a soccer-specific stadium play in that, if any?
Yes, so give us your answers. Be as specific as possible.
You can be lengthy, you can be succinct, you can be whatever. You have
creative control.
Creative control over your response. And we will pick, you have until from today until the 21st to send us your responses. Our email is girlsandgoal@gmail.com.
All of this information will be posted on the website,
yes.
So if you forget, you don't have to madly write this down. You can check it. It'll be up there.
And the winner will be announced on our
podcast on the 22nd.
Yep. So again, the question, well, since we're going to post it, I'm just going to read it, I guess, for the people that are lazy. What is the biggest advantage of home field advantage, and what role does a soccer-specific stadium play in that, if any? So it's kind of relating to, our new stadium opening, but it's not specific to the Houston Dynamo. So let us know your answers, and we will get back to you when we pick a winner.
That also, don't forget, no podcast next Tuesday. It's pushed to Thursday.
So don't be alarmed.
I know you're gonna miss us. Try not to cry.
We'll have good stuff, though. We'll have good stuff.
That being said, I'm Ayla.
And I'm Ivana, and we are Girls in Goal, and we will talk to y'all soon.